So positive. 6 months.
Good evening. This is the November 15th, 2023 meeting, a special meeting of the Moscow Planning and Zoning Commission. Welcome, everybody. Nice to have Drew back with us, and congratulations on your election. That's just fantastic. So we wish you were still with us here, but glad to see you on City Council. So
it's good to be back.
Great. So first item of business is approval of the October 18 minutes. Do we have any deletions, corrections, edits? So
I move acceptance.
So Joel move and Victoria second, and roll calls. Scott, we'll start with you.
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
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 Dennis? Aye. Aye. Okay, passed. This time for a public comment period. We allocate 15 minutes during the first part of the meeting. If anybody wants to come up and address the commission for items that are not on the agenda tonight or before City Council. So would anybody care to come up and chat with us? Okay, well, thank you anyway. We're glad to see an audience. So the next item is a public hearing proposal for a comprehensive planned land use designation and zoning designation for a 7.98 acre property proposed to be annexed into the city of Moscow and located at 2216 South Main Street. So Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. So before you tonight, we have a comp plan designation as well as a rezone, 2216 South Main Street. And this is for property that's proposed to be annexed within the city. You probably recognize it. This is Highway 95 running north-south to the west of the property. Property is highlighted in blue there. Current city limits boundary is the green dashed line. This is a portion of Founds Industrial Park with the two buildings here, as well as vacant property. This is the South Fork of the Palouse River running in the northwesterly direction there, bisecting the property. This is an automotive detail business here to the south. This is primarily agricultural property, and there is a couple runways on the property as well. Looking to the north, we have a church located here, a bar, restaurant, an office building here to the north. This is the new Palouse ice rink here to the west. And then on the west side of 95, you have various residential commercial uses. There's a retail building here, or commercial building, more storage units, Dale's Boat Service here to the west, and then intermingled with other residential uses on the west side. So the applicant is Joel Cohen. He's proposing two actions before you tonight. It is 7.9 acre property proposed to be annexed into the city of Moscow. Proposing to retain the current comprehensive plan land use designation, which is auto urban commercial. And then the zoning designation is currently industrial and agricultural forestry, and the proposal is the motor business zone. So of course, prior to annexation, P&Z is required to review the subject property, provide the council with a recommendation regarding appropriate future land use, as well as zoning to be applied on the subject property upon annexation. So won't be acting upon the annexation recommendation tonight. It'll just be a recommendation for the zoning and the comp plan amendment. So just a closer view of the property. You can see the two existing buildings that are included within this annexation, as well as the South Fork of the Palouse. We also have a city lift station located in the northwest of the property there. So it brings us to the current comprehensive plan land use designation. Like I mentioned before, it's auto urban commercial industrial designation located within the purple there to the east. But all surrounding properties to the southwest and the north are primarily that auto urban commercial designation. So taking a look at what the comp plan states about that designation, it's intended to provide for commercial services and developments that are motor vehicle oriented and those which require large amounts of land. Should be located adjacent to existing commercial developments and along major arterials where vehicle traffic can be accommodated. And then developments within those designations should be required to provide significant landscaping, which would be applied to enhancing areas along the street edge, screening parking lots, and buffering adjacent uses. And then it points to the motor business zone as being the most appropriate zoning designation. So it brings us to the zoning configuration of the area. Currently industrial, which is the purple magenta shade through the property, as well as property to the east. And then agricultural forestry is the darker red shade located here. Properties to the south within the county have subsequently been rezoned to the motor business zone. And then primarily all the property to the north and to the west within city limits is located within the motor business zone as well. So this would be the proposal to rezone to motor business to be consistent with the surrounding area. So taking a look at motor business zone within the zoning code provides for the location and grouping of compatible uses having similar operation as they involve enterprises which depend primarily on transient motor-based trade. Then concentrating such uses, city intends to increase public convenience when utilizing such services and within the regulation to allow such activities to render the maximum service. And then really just a wide variety of commercial as well as residential uses. So it could include retail, offices, restaurants, bars, printing, publishing houses, religious institutions, residential uses, hotels, motels, parking facilities, kennels, storage units, laundromats, and light manufacturing are a few of the allowed uses within the motor business zone. Looking at 95 adjacent to the property, it's kind of the area where it transitions from 4 lanes to 2 as you head south. But there is an existing approach that's shared with a number of other businesses just to the north of the bridge of the South Fork of the Palouse. So there is 4 travel lanes on this section with a center turn lane, curb gutter sidewalks on both sides of the street. Looking at water and sewer service, obviously this property is in the county, so it's currently on a well and septic system. So as part of the annexation, the buildings on the subject property will be required to connect to city water and sewer service. There is service currently located to the northwest of this property within the shared access drive, and it is considered developable within the city's comprehensive water and sewer system plans. So with that, staff recommends that the commission conduct a public hearing and upon consideration of testimony received, recommend retaining the current comp plan designation of auto urban commercial, and then recommend approval of the proposed rezone from ag forest to industrial and to the motor business zone with no conditions. And then of course, in accordance with the commission's decision on the comp plan designation and rezone, adopt the prepared relevant criteria and standards. And I did prepare those 2 RCS documents, so we could approve those tonight if that's the direction you choose to go.
Super.
I'd certainly be able to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mike? Okay, great. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. So with that, we'll open the public hearing. And first up, we'd like to hear from the applicant.
Good evening. My name is Joel Cohen, and I'll answer any questions I can for you.
So could you give us a sense of what your plans are for the property?
Well, right now, that first building, the one on the west, where Urber Auto is, I intend to sell that to him so he has his own building. And then I need to do some deferred maintenance on that second building and just basically rent it out to tenants. In the years to come, I'd like to see if I could build another industrial building to the south of that eastern building. Provide some truck docking, like the 3-foot high truck docks, things like that, which I know we don't have a lot of in the city outside of grocery stores. But that would not be imminent. That would be within the next few years. But that's it.
So any questions? Okay, well, thank you. I guess we don't have any questions for you. Thank you for your presentation. So next, we'd like to hear from anybody in support of the comprehensive plan designation and the rezone. Okay. Shelley?
Good evening, Shelley Bennett, 2279 Mosier Street in Moscow. And you all look confused, so I'm just to unconfuse you a little bit. It was in the county, and the county won't let us divide the lot, any part of the Fountains Park, unless it is annexed to the city. So we couldn't split it and sell it off because this piece that we're dividing is in the floodplain.
Thank you.
It's in the floodway. So we couldn't do it in the county. So this is why we're here. We're here to fix it so that it can be what the investment that he wishes it could be. Does that help?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Very good. Anybody else that would like to talk in favor, and any other comments in a general nature or and opposed to? All right, seeing no one, we will close the public hearing. And how would you all like to proceed? It looks fairly straightforward to me, so I think it's good, and it's starting to bring that whole area into the city. What doesn't show on the map is further to the south and west is already annexed in because of Schweitzer, and also the other development is all now in the city of Moscow. So it makes sense to just extend. So I certainly don't see any issues. So are we ready to proceed with
Yep,
a motion?
it's all ready to go. So, I mean, it's got all the services.
So do we have a motion to, do you want separate recommendations and motions on these, Mike, or?
I think you can probably combine them if you
For
want
both
to.
the comprehensive
Yeah,
plan
sure.
and for the
Yeah.
rezone, and then we'll do the RCS separately. So, okay, do we have a motion to approve? So Dennis motion, and we have a Rich's second. Okay. And this is Jennifer, for your wordsmithing. This is a motion to recommend approval of both the comprehensive plan designation and the rezone. So, okay, so Rich, we'll start with you.
And the criteria. And the.
No, I'm going to do that separate.
Oh, separate?
Okay. All right.
Aye.
Victoria?
Aye.
Mills, aye? Aye? and
Aye.
Aye, okay, so approved. So I would like to keep the RCS separate, since that's an issue that we've been kind of discussing about as needed. This seems like a perfect instance to be able to do this. So, and has anybody got any comments or edits for the RCS? As is, so, okay, so do we have a motion to approve the RCS as written?
Motion to approve.
So Victoria's and Joel's second. So Scott, we'll start with you. Roll
Aye.
call. And Joel?
Joe.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so RCS approved. So very good. Thank you all very much. Appreciate you coming in. This is a good project to have going forward. We're pleased that you were able to do this. So, all right. Wow. Yeah, that was very quick.
If we're gonna have problems, maybe we could outlast the rain. I think it's gonna stop raining in 20 minutes. You sure you don't wanna?
Sure you don't come up and. So Joel, I guess you're up next, transportation?
Meet tomorrow. I think there is one tomorrow, but I have not verified that.
Okay,
It would be at 4 o'clock in this room.
okay.
It was last week, but it was canceled because of that.
Okay.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, that makes sense.
Okay.
The gas outage they canceled, because
Seriously?
these were all closed, weren't they?
Okay, that explains why I was.
Like, you didn't have to show up.
Who made the lights go out? Our gas light, of course.
So I guess announcements, Mike, anything for,
Nothing from staff, no.
this is almost
Yeah.
a record.
Yeah.
So,
I get that too.
yeah, we'll be out of here 10 minutes earlier, right?
It's probably a record for a meeting with a public.
With a
hearing.
public hearing, yeah. Well, fortunately, this one was pretty straightforward, so, yeah.
We do have next meeting's canceled.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, our the normal scheduled meeting for next Wednesday is canceled. You've already posted that as canceled, I believe, haven't you? Tomorrow, okay. And then we are going to meet on the 13th of December, and we probably won't meet on the, what would that be, the 27th?
Yeah. It's kind of up in the air right now. We have an application that is close to submitting everything.
13th or?
For the 27th?
For the 13th,
Oh.
they may be able to get it in for the 13th, but we're not sure yet. So if not, we're either going to be looking at the 27th, or we may just shoot for the first meeting in January. I don't know if people are going to be out of town for the 27th. I mean, the Christmas is the 25th, and that's a Monday.
Yeah, I think that's,
I think we're probably not going to meet. I think there'll probably be a number of people that'll be out of town.
I mean,
so
would it be an option to push it back to the 20th?
we could. I think that the best thing to do is just play it by ear to see if this application comes in, and then we can maybe just decide whether or not
Okay.
we want to do that.
well, we could, so potentially cancel the 13th and just have a single meeting on the 20th? Is that kind of what we're talking about?
Yeah, I think maybe we would just wait to see what happens with
Right.
the application, and then we could potentially do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we don't have any issues for the agenda on the 13th, I guess we can be receptive to, I mean, there's no point in bringing everybody in for a 5-minute meeting. So we'll just, let's kind of watch that and see what happens, Mike, and we'll
Yeah.
stay open to it. Jennifer, for you, how much time in advance do you have for a cancellation? Okay, all right. Okay, so we'll just kind of keep watching that.
Yeah,
So,
I will probably not be here on the 20th.
okay. I, yeah, right, yeah, because she's kind of planned on the 2nd and 4th rather than so, okay, well, we'll try to keep that in mind. Let's, like you say, we'll just play this by ear and see what happens. So, just to let you know, I won't be here at all in January. So our good friend Dennis is going to be in the hot seat.
Right, let's get this stuff done in December.
Yeah. So anything else for the good of the order, Mike?
Well, I think, we talked to Tyler about the water talk.
Oh,
And apparently they don't have any new information to provide at this point, but they were looking at maybe springtime would probably be the best time to have him
Okay,
or the executive director come and talk to us about
Super.
that. And so I think we're tentatively planning for probably springtime to
Okay.
have him come. So
great. And I guess the city council meeting is kind of just sitting out there.
Still waiting. Yeah, I know that Cody had mentioned it, I think, to administration just this week. And I think they're still just waiting to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll be on standby. My guess is that would be unlikely to happen between now and the end of the year.
Probably not.
So we'll kind of think that that's another spring activity. So,
So they usually at least get their feet wet a little bit.
yeah, that's true. So Drew and Sandra reelected, and Bryce now a new member. So he'll be a good candidate to be a P&Z liaison. We like to break them
Sure,
in.
that'll be.
fresh meat.
Okay, anything else that anybody has that
It's good.
for the good of the order? Thank you all for showing up on this horrible rainy night. I appreciate it, even for a relatively brief meeting, but an important one nonetheless. So, okay, with that, the meeting is adjourned.